on a 2,000 square foot home, it's up to be 300.
Good morning. I'd like to call the meeting of the October 22nd, 2025 meeting of the County Facilities Committee to order. We will begin with the minutes from the previous committee meeting.
I'll make the motion to approve.
Second Supervisor Conover. Any questions, comments, deletions, additions, that sort of thing? Now I'll call the question. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any? No. Thank you. We will begin with the Fire Prevention Building and Code agenda. Mr. Wallace, you
Certainly.
anything or?
Morning, everyone. So during the budget process, it was suggested that we look at the fee schedules. And the consensus was that we should maybe be more in line with the town of Queensbury. So we looked at this briefly last month. I was asked to bring back a suggested fee schedule, which you'll see in the first column in red there. Most of these line up with the town of Queensbury, with the exceptions of some minimums. So probably 10 or 12 that have changes. So if you want to run through them line by line, or how you want to approach it. Okay. So starting right on the first page with single family dwellings, you can see that went right with the town of Queensbury, 35 cents a square foot. We were at 20. Washington County's at 20. And then there are some towns that were going on with the same thing that we made comparisons with. So second one, additions, alterations, square foot fee went to 35. I felt the minimum fee was more appropriate to go back to 75 because that additions can include a very small deck. Some of these additions are very minimal, so it seemed 300 was too high. I did adjust it up to $75 minimum because keeping in mind, I'm not sure at the town of Queensbury and or other jurisdictions if zoning fees are included in their permit fee schedule. So in almost all the towns, except for I think 3, there are zoning fees to get a zoning permit as well. So they also get tacked onto all these projects for decks, porches, houses, whatever. So I kind of tweaked that backwards a little bit. If anyone would like any discussion on any of these as I run through them, certainly just let me know and we can review them further. Garages went with the same square footage amount with a minimum of 100. Certificate occupancy fee was unchanged. Second page, townhouses, hotels, motels. I upped that minimum fee. The 35 cents is in line. The minimum fee was 300. Multiple dwellings was again 35 cents with a minimum of 150. Commercial, I went above because our fee structure has always been about a 10-cent differential between residential and commercial. So that went up to 45 cents and with a minimum of a $300 permit fee for new commercial. Last one, commercial alterations, additions, 45 cents with a $150 minimum permit fee. Because again, some of these alterations can not include much, but third page, amendments for building permits, top column. The fee structure basically went right along with what the permit fee was suggested on for housing and for commercial, residential and commercial. So 35 and 45 with a $50 and $100 minimum. there was no other changes I was proposing on the rest of that page. Fourth page, we have to go all the way down to solar, which I basically went from 100 to 200. And 100 and 200 for residential commercial, which was pretty much in line with where they were at. And the last page, which included CO searches, tent structures, those we typically do as a fire safety inspection. Short-term rentals, are being done as a fire safety inspection, so those stayed at 75. And the fire safety inspection fee on the very last page, sorry. I did not change at all. As you can see, when you go across that, the only people that charge for fire safety fees is the city of Glens Falls. It's a pretty complex fee structure. And ours are at 75, and I didn't feel it warranted. If we're gonna change those, to me, I would go to 0, but that's another story. So that is what I came back with as far as suggestions. If you guys would like to have
All
some
right.
input on,
Are there any questions regarding this? We have no resolution regarding this. What we'll do is consider these, and then at our next meeting, we'll have a resolution to adopt new fees. Do you have any questions?
I thought they looked good, very appropriate, and we got a little bit of a revenue enhancement, but I thought he did a good job with it.
Anyone else? Any questions or comments? Yes.
I mean, I think the question is, how much of the operation should the general taxpayer pay for, and how much should the process itself support itself? And I think that's the fundamental question here. And I think, that to the extent reasonable, I think the process should support itself. It shouldn't necessarily fall to the general taxpayer. Now, the other thing is, when you look at the cost of construction these days, while this, I'm sure, is an irritant, any increase is an irritant, it's a relatively small amount against the cost of construction. I mean, I don't know.
Given the cost of labor and material stuff,
You gotta be talking
No.
north of $200 a square foot, aren't
pretty
you?
much forget about this.
What would you say, Charles?
I think right now, a pretty basic house is right around 300. And that can go when you get into a more extensive house, especially something along any of the lakes. You're upwards of $450, $500 a square foot.
So you're looking at on a 2,000 square foot home, you're looking at 600,000 plus, just, not counting land, not counting soft costs, just hard physical costs. It's
So that's
unfortunate, but because it makes it the issue of affordability, but
absolutely.
Let me ask a question. These minimums, they're all new. We didn't have these
No,
before.
they are listed right on the second column
Oh, yeah.
down. You can just follow along right with those. They were adjusted slightly. However, I'll use one for an example, additions, alterations, back to the first page for single family dwellings. Town of Queensbury was at $300 for a minimum permit. And for alterations, 250. And again, those additions, any porch, any deck, any very small project can be considered an addition. So that fee schedule is what's come into play. So, and then you add to it, again, not really the county's issue, but the town fees on top of all those. So if you were to have a $300 permit fee here and another, I don't know what they are, $75, $80, $100 at the town, that's pretty substantial fee cost to add a deck onto your house.
Any other questions or comments? As I said, we'll consider these over the next month, and then the next meeting will entertain adoption of these.
When, and I guess one thing to be discussed, when would you want them to take effect? Like, is if they were adopted at that point, or wait till the first of the year?
consensus of the board, of the committee.
First of the year makes sense,
I think for.
Yeah, we'll take first year.
Okay, so we'll
not far away.
incorporate that in the resolution.
Just a
Go ahead.
question, where are we at with staffing now, beside yourself?
Hmm.
We're
Were we
actually,
able to keep up with all of this?
yep, we're actually back to fully staffed. Had one guy who just come back after extensive medical, and he is gotten back to the point where he can do fire safety, from release from the doctor. There's a little bit of scuttlebutt about, I may have somebody going out in retirement first, somewhere around the first of the year. That's not set in stone though. So, but right now we're back to 100% staffed.
So a year or two ago, we were in a bit of a quandary with
Yeah.
regard to staffing and where you're gonna get personnel, but that's all gone away, if you will.
It has, yeah, we brought in, was able to get three reasonably young guys, all came out of the fire service. So the county will have, many years of service out of them. They're all doing great, they're all safety oriented, some building background, so that, that's being worked on.
They're all certified.
They're all certified at this point, everybody's certified, so
That's
if we do have a retirement, we'll manage that pretty easily and get somebody else in there, but.
very good.
Just
Yes.
one related question, is there much of a difference between your fire safety inspection and a short-term rental inspection?
Well, fire safety is going to cover every commercial building. So there can be a lot of different aspects going on in there. So, but a short-term rental inspection is pretty basic. We're looking at smoke detectors, carbon monoxide, no visible hazards, general overall property maintenance condition, and then, handrails, guardrails, at least intact to the time of to the code when the house was built. So they don't necessarily have to meet the current code. They have to be maintained for when the house was built. So it's a pretty simple inspection. We try to actually walk everyone through that process over the phone before we go. So they have time to add smoke detectors or do whatever they gotta do. I would say the success rate of those inspections at the first visit is probably 90% because of talking them through it. We don't want to have to go back, and a lot of them are not from here, right? So they're making time to come up, or they have an agent come up. So we want to be in and out of there and them be compliant and get paperwork to turn into the towns.
Thank you.
So they're pretty simple. I mean, they're 15-20 minutes at tops usually. Unless there's a problem and you gotta discuss it, but usually 15-20 minutes, you can walk through a house and generally see if it's in good enough condition for a short-term rental.
Thank you.
Very good. Anybody else? Any questions? Things we have. Nothing else on here. Privilege of the floor and public comment. Anyone from the public? Yes.
Just on the minimums on small projects. If we make the minimum too high, permits are not gonna be pulled, they're gonna be done on the slide.
I agree, sir.
Thank you.
Yep.
Yes, thank you. Good
Thanks,
job.
everyone.
Good day.
So next month we'll have a resolution.
Okay.
It'll incorporate the effective date as well. Moving right along, what would you like to take next, Mr. Hazel? I'm gonna airport first. The map. That's it.
Sure. So action agendas?
Yeah.
So the only one here is the apply for the grant, authorizing the chairman of the board of supervisors to submit and execute grant application for the FAA for the cost of the AFFF aqueous film forming foam testing equipment, the ecological E1 cart. I think we touched on this last month. We received confirmation that this project is eligible for funding, and we should anticipate funding to be returned late 2026. I know that was a question from our last meeting. We were generous to say the cost of the car was $30,000, and we were generous to say any administrative fees $20,000, so the total project was not to exceed $50,000, but we don't anticipate it being a full. As I said before, this project is 95% covered by the FAA, 2.5% state match, 2.5% local match. Questions on?
Yes,
I'm just gonna add on is in your discussion items, we have the FAA eligibility determination letter. It's not actually in your package, but Robin and I received a letter from the FAA on several projects, and this is one of the ones that says, yes, it is eligible for the funding.
gonna bring this to the floor.
We'll move it.
Supervisor Thomas, second by Supervisor Stroud. Discussion.
And Robin, what is AFFF?
Crystal forming foam. So the firefighting foam used to prevent.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Okay, thanks.
Any other questions? Not a call question, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any? Thank you. So we'll move on down to discussion item.
I'll take that one. The Precision Approach Path Indicator Project. I'm very pleased to report that we were able to coordinate with FAA's for our flight check. Both systems passed inspection, so our PAPIs are fully activated now. I know the pilots are, as you can tell, very excited about that. And our maintenance guys also completed their training as well, so they've been completely handed over to the airport. So we're now in the final stages to close out that project. Any?
Okay,
Next, take the next one. Next item we have on there is the discussion with the existing leases with Skimmerhorn Aviation. And I will turn it over to our county attorney.
Do you want to do number 3 first?
But we kind of hit on number 3. That was eligibility.
we'll take that. So number 3, FAA eligibility determination.
That was just what I just talked
Yeah.
about. We got the letter that we received that said that 3 of our projects are eligible for funding through the FAA. 2 of them we've already brought through, which is
I believe we may have to bring a resolution for construction. We may only.
right. Okay. Then they were for the apron, the northern apron, and then taxiway Bravo, and then the third one was for the AFFF testing equipment. So
So where does that sit now? So you need a
we don't
resolution.
need anything right now
No.
because there's not a resolution.
Not now, but in the future.
Next month.
Next month we will.
Okay. Now to number 2.
And speaking with the superintendent, there would be a request for a motion for the committee to go into an executive session. It would be pursuant to Public Officers Law, Section 105, subparagraph 1D, which would be discussions of proposed, pending, or current litigation, as well as under subsection H for discussions regarding a proposed lease of real property. Additionally, and as an additional separate basis under Public Officers Law, Section 108(3), which is to have confidential discussion, to discuss matters that are deemed confidential under federal and state law. And the topic has to do with Skimmerhorn Aviation lease agreements.
Very good.
Make the motion.
Yeah. Supervisor Drossy? Favor?
Aye.